Hey folks, this is Kirk Smith with Ice Age East Take 5, and this is my happy place. It's our home. And one of the best things that parents can do for their children's education is to have a happy home life. One of the reasons that home education works so well is we get to teach true life principles. Not just those that are found in textbooks, but those that are found in the ultimate book of life, the Word of God. Now, this has been Father's Day weekend, and I had the privilege this weekend of sharing at a church about a man named Benaiah. And Benaiah was one of David's 30 men, the mighty soldiers. And in 1 Chronicles 11, we meet Benaiah, and he is described to us as a man who defeated two heroes of the Moabites. He went down to a pit on a snowy day and killed a tiger. And also, he killed a giant, an Egyptian, who had a spear when Benaiah himself only had a staff. And I share several characteristics that's important about biblical manhood, biblical masculinity. But in fact, this lesson today that I want to encourage us as parents to share with our children is one that's good for both boys and girls. And that is, true godly men and women do not make excuses. They get the job done. We live in a culture that wants to make excuses all the time. Now, Benaiah had some good excuses that he could have given. He could have said, hey, there's two Moabites. There's only one of me. I'm outnumbered. I can't fight these guys. Or he could have said about the lion or the tiger on the snowy day, hey, it's snowy out. My hands are cold. I can't get a good grip. Or I might slip on the snow as I get into the pit. That'd be a good excuse. That'd have been a good reason. The Egyptian, he's so much taller than I am, or he has a spear and all I have is my staff. But yet he did not make excuses. He got the job done. If we listen to our children's language, we can very easily hear them give excuses. Excuses might be as simple as, well, the sun's in my eyes, rather than taking responsibility and saying, I dropped the ball. Nobody woke me up, rather than saying, I overslept. Oh, the boys in our family golf. And rather than saying I had a bad shot, I say, well, I just had a bad lie. No, you had a bad shot. It's so important in life to teach our kids not to make excuses. They will go so far in life if they have that paradigm. Now, the reason this is important is twofold. Number one, it actually empowers our children when they don't make excuses. What do I mean by that? When we allow our children to make excuses, basically what we're telling them, even though we don't realize it, is that we don't think they're good enough on their own. And so therefore, we let them excuse themselves. We really try at our home to not let our kids give excuses. Why? We believe in them. We believe that God's grace in them they can do all things through Christ that gives them strength. Philippians 4:13. And because of that promise, there needs to be no excuses. When we let our kids make excuses, it costs them power. It costs them confidence. It's telling them that they're not good enough. I heard a pastor once say about a member in their church how a member's daughter started dressing more and more provocatively. Well, he was so bothered he addressed the parents. And the basic message that the mom gave was, well, we want her to be popular. And that's what all of her friends wear. Well, long story short is, she became popular, but in a very degrading way. And later on, she was called clingy and desperate. Not what we're wanting, folks. And though that mother definitely loved her girl, what she was saying was she was not good enough in herself to have the right friendship circle. That's sad. So when we don't allow our kids to make excuses, we're saying you're good enough in yourself through Christ. And the second thing that we do when we don't let our kids make excuses, we teach them to be responsible and say, hey, the answer is not out there, it's in here and up there. Very important. Folks who make excuses are always blaming external circumstances. And while sometimes external pressures are applied to our lives and they can influence our situation, if we live a lifestyle like that, we'll create the perpetual, we'll fulfill the prophecies of what we think. If the answers are out there, we think we have no power over them. But if we say, hey, we are responsible, we are able to respond by God's grace, it teaches our kids to address their situation, say, okay, what can I do right now with the time, energy, resources, and tools that I have to make this situation better? Benaiah was one of David's mighty men of valor. I believe as parents we can teach our kids to be mighty men and women of valor if we can teach them a lifelong lessons. Don't get excuses. We can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us. This is Kirk Smith with ISHE's Take 5. I'm going to go back to my happy place.